Hey there friends, it's Kodiak here. Welcome back to Legacy Gaming and welcome to Elden Ring. Today we're checking out another boss and breaking down everything you need to know to defeat Royal Knight Loretta and of course talk about the loot you get for killing the boss. The Royal Knight Loretta is a fantastic encounter that combines devastating physical attacks with a few familiar magic attacks. The combination is truly superb and keeps you on your toes the entire time as you're constantly dodging ranged and melee abilities looking for an opening to strike. This is a two-phase encounter that escalates substantially in the latter half of the fight and culminates with a powerful magic-based ability, but as always, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Royal Knight Loretta is located deep within Caria Manor, tucked away in the northwest corner of the villa. To reach the boss, follow the main road, but be warned there are plenty of enemies and even some traps along the way, so be patient as you work your way through the encounters. Good news, there is a Stake of Marika right outside the boss's room, so once you reach her, you'll be good to fight her on repeat until she's dead. Royal Knight Loretta is a two-phase encounter. The pace of the fight is relatively slow, but it's the sheer number of abilities plus their evolution in Phase 2 that make the boss rather challenging. Her first ability is Glintstone Knives. In Phase 1, the boss will summon 5 magical knives above her head and then cast them almost all at once towards the player. This is a frequently used ability, especially when standing at range. Another magic ability, the boss will commonly use ethereal bolts, single-shot projectiles that track the player's movement. These fire off one after the other and force you to stay in motion to avoid the attacks. This ability will often overlap with Glintstone Knives ever so slightly, which can be a huge pain in terms of trying to dodge multiple abilities. With the magic abilities behind us, let's talk about Royal Knight Loretta's physical attacks. As you probably noticed, she's got a giant glaive, and she uses this in a number of variations to great effect. Obviously, you'll need to look out for her singular glaive slash, which is a common melee attack, but you'll also need to watch out for her slash stab combination or slash chop combination. This just expands upon her existing melee toolkit and keeps you on your toes whilst in melee range. Periodically, the boss will infuse her glaive with magic and then execute a 2-slash combination. This does have a different rhythm to it than the other melee attacks, but the magic itself doesn't actually change the functionality of the attack. Royal Knight Loretta will also use a downward stabbing attack followed shortly after by an uppercut. While still a melee attack, this is vastly different than the elegant sweeping attacks we've talked about before and might throw you off. It's not one of her go-to moves, but it's used throughout the fight. In terms of other melee attacks, the boss will also use a jumping chop. The horse will leap into the air, and as the boss is coming down, she'll swing her glaive in a wide sweeping arc. This is a shared ability you might have seen from some other mounted encounters across the lands between. I should also point out the horse has some basic abilities, like a back kick, which we only caught briefly, and a side slam ability. Staying in melee is a dangerous game in this fight because of the boss's arsenal of attacks, but you add in the horse's mechanics, and it's damn near impossible to stay in melee range for an extended period of time. I also want to mention that the boss repositions pretty often throughout the entire encounter. A variation of this retreat also coincides with a single ethereal bolt, so be on the lookout for that. Around 50%, the boss will transition into Phase 2. You'll know this is happening by a magical glyph she summons above her head. There are a few changes to existing abilities we should talk about first. The Glintstone Knives ability now has 7 charges instead of 5, and these now cast towards the player in a staggered pattern. This means you'll be dodging for longer, and as we've already mentioned, this has a nasty ability to overlap with her other attacks. Ethereal Bolt also changes, just a bit. Instead of one projectile, it's now a multi-shot projectile. The nature of the attack doesn't really change, but because of the increased complexity of the spell, it can be a bit disorienting. Finally, we have to talk about Royal Knight Loretta's new ability, her Ethereal Bow attack. This almost always occurs right at the end of Glintstone Knives as they're flying at your head. The boss will summon a massive magical bow, and after pulling back, release a single massive projectile that will explode upon impact. This is the single most dangerous ability in the encounter and one you'll have to deal with as soon as you reach the second phase. Taking down the Royal Knight Loretta is no easy feat. Due to her constantly pivoting between melee and magical attacks, you'll barely stop avoiding attacks the entire time she's engaged. Luckily, that massive glaive she wields has a drawback: its long recovery time. Look for openings right after any melee attack or combination. There's often a window to land at least one good strike on the boss. This is your best opening for attack, but as always, don't get greedy as that will cost you. Even as a melee player, it's best to stay relatively far away from the boss. Her magic abilities, while annoying, are much easier to dodge than her combination of melee attacks, which become unbearable once she starts chaining them together. Eventually, you'll find your rhythm, you'll get the boss down below 50%, and this is when you'll have to start dealing with that bow mechanic. The simple truth is, a stationary Tarnished is a dead Tarnished, and you'll notice in Livid's kill, he rarely, if ever, stops moving. Because all of her magic abilities have tracking capabilities, you'll want to stay in motion to keep them from hitting you. It's simple enough in theory, but once mechanics start overlapping, things start to unravel. As I mentioned above, the bow attack is easily the most deadly, and the small explosive component associated with the attack can be a bit hard to judge, but with a little repetition, you'll get the hang of it. It's a faster projectile than the others, which is what you'll need to adjust for. Eventually, the boss will stop slinging spells and continue to try and engage in melee, and just like in Phase 1, wait for those attacks and the long recovery time and land a shot or two. With a whole lot of patience, some nimble movements, and the ability to avoid a massive ethereal arrow, this great foe will fall and her loot will be yours. You survived the bow attack, so what better prize could you hope to receive than that very same spell? For defeating the Royal Knight Loretta, you receive Loretta's Great Bow, a spell that requires 26 intelligence to wield. It's quite literally the same attack that the boss used, but now you're in control. Your other reward is Loretta's Slash. This is essentially the infused 2-slash combination from the fight, but turned into an Ash of War that can be used on polearms and twin blades. It's a flashy ability that might fit into your build, and a fair prize for overcoming such a challenging fight. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of how to defeat the Royal Knight Loretta. As always, our goal here at Legacy Gaming is to bring you guides that get straight to the point so you can get back to the action, and if you appreciate that, we'd appreciate your support. Hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing for more Elden Ring boss guides and more in your feeds. Of course, if you still have questions, you can join us on Discord. Our community just passed 20,000 members, and with a small section dedicated just for Elden Ring, there's always someone around to help out and answer questions. Check out the link below to join today. Finally, if you like everything we're doing here on the channel and you want to support us even more, you can do so by becoming a member. For just a couple bucks, you're helping Livid and I achieve our dreams of becoming full-time content creators. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.